Hello everyone and welcome. In this video we're going to be doing a mid-season review on the popular television series House of Dragon. The show is a spin-off prequel to an even more popular series, Game of Thrones, both of which are written by the famous George R.R. Martin. The television series is based off the books, also written by George R.R. Martin. Season 1 of House of Dragon was directed by Miguel Sapochnick, I do hope I'm pronouncing his name right, before his eventual and voluntary departure from the series. This makes me a little bit nervous considering how much I enjoyed the way Season 1 has been turning out, and I know how much a person leaving the production team can impact the final product. For instance, the two writers of Game of Thrones, D.B. Weiss and David Benioff, left this series near its finale. Because of this, it's well known by both audiences and, well, the actors themselves that the last season or two of Game of Thrones is, well, how should we say, bad, poor in quality.
How do you feel about the way that it ends?
There are no better writers in television than Dan Weiss and David Benioff. They ended it brilliantly, better than I could have imagined, and you people are in for it.
Have you shot your final scenes yet, and are you happy with how things ended?
Yes.
She didn't say yes. You didn't say yes.
Best season ever!
It's the best. It's the best season ever.
If you could describe the season finale of Game of Thrones in one word, how would you describe it?
Disappointing.
The series was pretty good up until their sudden and selfish departure. You can tell I'm a fan of both series. I was slightly upset about the way the last couple of seasons of Game of Thrones turned out, but that's all I'm going to say about that. Since the departure of Miguel Sapochnick, it has been announced that Ryan Condell and Alan Taylor will be taking over the production for Season 2 and so forth. The series is written by George R.R. Martin, of course, as well as many others, and is produced by companies GRRM, Bastard Sword, 126 Pictures Inc., as well as HBO Entertainment. The series is distributed by Warner Bros. Domestic Television Distribution and can be watched on HBO or streamed on HBO Max. Going over the cast, the series stars Millie Alcock, who plays Rhaenyra Targaryen, Matt Smith as Daemon Targaryen, and Paddy Considine playing King Viserys, which I might add does a fantastic job of playing the role, as well as many others. I do apologize for not mentioning the entire cast, as there is a plethora of them to mention, all of which are heavily featured in the series. I only went ahead and mentioned the first three actors, the main Targaryens, because the series of which is named House of Dragon and focuses mainly on that family. I'll start off with a very simplified plot summary. For instance, the series follows the family or House of Dragon, the Targaryens, as they struggle to rule over the kingdoms. And for instance, one of their problems is that King Viserys, the main head of the household and of the kingdoms, has trouble producing any living heirs. Many of them died during their infancy, or his wife dies during delivery. He only has a brother and daughter in his family and goes ahead and lists the daughter as the new heir to the throne out of scorn of his brother. This is troubling in the kingdom, in the show, and in reality, as people are uneasy having a female in such a high position of power. There is talks of possible insurrection or protest if she is to be named the queen, since most people don't have any faith in her ability to rule properly. This is the main plot point and stems other problems throughout the series. Moving on to the writing, the show is written very well and does a great job of developing the plot very smoothly. The writing, in fact, is where the highest praise goes to. I alone have learned many words from this series alone and have enjoyed the commitment from both the writers and the actors for speaking in this old type of medieval English with such natural accents. The acting does play a great part in this, as it's noticeable when you have a modern-day English-speaking person attempting to kind of emulate this type of old medieval English. You can kind of tell they don't do a really good job of it, but in this series, they do a really good job of it. When they speak, it doesn't really seem forced or odd, especially when they convey a little bit more complex emotions like anger or happiness. More on the acting, I have to say everyone does a great job. They do a very natural job of expressing themselves and doing it very, very flowing, in a very flowing manner. But if I were to give any higher praise to anyone, it definitely would go to Paddy Considine as King Viserys. Of course, I apologize for mispronouncing anyone's names. I'm drawn more to his scenes in the show. I have no idea why. I think it's because of his smooth acting style, and again, his ability to speak in this old type of medieval English really well. Truly a great performance from him. A close second would be none. Not to say that everyone does a bad job or anything like that. Everyone, in fact, does a good job. It's just that in terms of that acting point, which of course is a strong point in this show, he happens to be one of the greater ones. In terms of cinematography, it's great. You'll see in most of my other reviews when talking about cinematography, I rate them to be somewhat decent to good. That's because the series or show or movie might not really call for that, but when you're talking about a show like this, with this grand scale, with multiple locations, you're going to notice that there's a lot more effort, energy, and more attention to detail that's put into cinematography. You know, shooting scenes in a gritty, crime-riddled city isn't as beautiful nor as ranging in scenery as a show like this that requires many, many different scenes and locations, geographical landscapes. So shows or movies like that, you'll most often see a greater use of cinematography. And not just because of the beautiful scenery that's captured from the camera, it's actually the shot with the shot establishment. For instance, the cinematography is held by Fabian Wagner, among others. They all do a really good job of setting up shots to either convey emotion or to set up the setting really well. The editing is pretty decent, nothing spectacular. It's helmed by Tim Porter, who's really known for his previous work on Game of Thrones. The music is pretty decent in this series, nothing special, though in Game of Thrones the score was pretty good. I'm expecting that to increase in quality for this show as the series progresses because you're going to need a lot more emotion to couple with that great score, which I'm assuming we'll be seeing later on. That's it pretty much in terms of review of this show. It's kind of short, but of course it's a mid-season review. We'll have a lot more to work with as the series progresses. I'm excited to see what's coming next, and hopefully it all goes well. So again, that's it for this review. It's a pretty good show. I recommend watching it. If you agreed with the review or enjoyed the video, go ahead and leave a like. Please don't forget to share and subscribe, and that's going to be it for this video. Thanks again, guys, for watching. You're the best. I'll see you in the next one.